Welcome to This Week in Poker, your source for the latest happenings in poker news. I'm Christy Arnett. Online poker players breathed a collective sigh of relief last Friday when it was announced that the Treasury and Federal Reserve would delay the implementation of the Unlawful Internet Gambling Enforcement Act for at least 6 months. Before the delay was granted, banks would have been forced to comply with the UIGEA regulations by December 1st, 2009. Now that deadline has been pushed back to June 1st, 2010. Yesterday, Card Player TV released a Poker Buzz, giving viewers an update on the latest happenings in poker law. Here's a clip.
Today, nearly 7 months after Representative Barney Frank of Massachusetts introduced a bill into Congress that would regulate the online poker industry, the House Financial Services Committee held a hearing to discuss the major issues. Frank, the chairman of the committee, argued that his bill was a matter of personal liberty and said that adults should have the right to do what they want with their own money. He also blasted the UIGEA, a 2006 law that restricts payment transfers to online gaming sites. The regulation of that law was set to go into effect this week until the Treasury and Federal Reserve agreed to delay the legislation at Frank's request.
View the entire video in the CPTV archives. CityCenter, the largest private construction project of all time, finally opened the first of 5 properties to the public this week. Vidara, a 1,500-room condominium hotel that climbs 57 stories above Las Vegas Boulevard, is considered the value property of CityCenter and is located in between Bellagio and Monte Carlo. Of the 5 CityCenter locations, only Aria is considered a gaming property. It is scheduled to open December 16th. Among the casino attributes, Aria will feature a brand new poker room on the Strip. The official number of tables in the room has yet to be confirmed, but they are believed to be somewhere between 12 and 20 tables. The downtown Las Vegas casino, Binions, announced this week that it was shutting down hotel operations starting on December 14th, but the poker room will remain open. Formerly known as Binion's Horseshoe, the hotel opened in 1951. It hosted the first World Series of Poker in 1970 and continued to crown the world champion of poker until Harrah's Entertainment bought the hotel and the rights to the prestigious series in 2004 and moved it to the Rio soon thereafter. The hotel hosts 365 rooms and will honor reservations for dates before December 14th, but will transfer all subsequent guests to its fellow TLC property, the 694-room Four Queens. Now onto a tournament trail update. All the major tournament poker action this week has been going on overseas. The Asia Pacific Poker Tour began its grand final in Sydney, Australia on Tuesday with 396 players. After day 2, the event is now down to the final 66, who are competing for the first place prize of more than $500,000. The other event going on is the European Poker Tour Prague event, which also began on Tuesday. Of the 586 that started, only 25 remain as day 3 continues. First in this event is getting more than $1 million. In case you missed it, here are a few quick clips of this week's videos on Card Player TV. Jason Somerville talks about playing a big stack in a tournament.
I think some big stacks get too aggressive. Like, you want to be aggressive and put pressure on, but you want to limit the amount of exposure you have with your stack. Like, even though you have a lot of chips, you don't want to be in there with too small of an edge. You know, because having the big stack lets you take those tiny gambles, the low variance gambles, without having to worry about them. Like, I can raise small all day long and get away with it. And if I lose a couple, it's not a big deal. But if I take like a big 55-45 for half of my stack, all of a sudden I don't have a big stack anymore. So preserving your big stack is pretty important by not taking marginal gambles.
Matt Savage answers viewer questions in the newest episode of All Inbox. And Mark asks, as a tournament director and player, I was wondering if you could explain the proper tipping etiquette. I know you've talked about this before, but I wanted to settle some debates with friends. Thanks, Matt, you're awesome.
Well, basically, for me, you know, the tournaments that have bigger buy-ins, most of them hold out 3%. I think that as a staff member and an employee, we basically feel that 3% is being taken out. It's enough, but obviously, you know, we'd like to see some people leave some more. It's not mandatory, but we have people that leave an extra 1 or 2%. We feel that's very generous, and you know, it's also very appreciated. In smaller tournaments, though, you know, when you take out 3%, it's not enough. So, a lot of times in those smaller buy-in tournaments, you really need people to leave more money. And you know, again, it's something that I've never been very good at is you know, hustling for tips, and it's part of the job that we have to do because the dealers and the staff really count on us to make those things happen. And you know, I think that players have been very generous over the years, and I hope it continues.
And Julio Rodriguez talks to Daryl Fish for the Online Zone.
Now, for those out there who don't know a lot about you, can you give us a little detail about your background, how you got into poker?
Sure. When I was 17, I was skateboarding pretty heavily, and but I had an injury. I broke my arm, and then due to a prior heart condition, I had to have heart surgery. So that kind of made me get out of skateboarding, and I got into Magic the Gathering. And as you know, there are plenty of people that play poker now that kind of came from that background, and I played Magic for a few years, and eventually, you know, saw Rounders and saw the Moneymaker thing, you know, just like everybody else, standard story. And we just started playing poker, all the Magic kids, and I kind of fell in love with the game and kept going from there.
Thanks for tuning in to This Week in Poker. Have a great weekend. I'm Christy Arnett for Card Player TV.